Ladies and gentlemen, anger is not really the issue. It's just the smoke. We've been chasing the smoke, but ignoring the fire. What's underneath that frustration, that snapping, that boiling emotion is not always hurt or betrayal. It's often something far more silent. Ignorance. Not ignorance in the insulting sense, but in the purest sense of the word, a lack of understanding. Most of the time, when we get angry with someone, it's because we misunderstood them or expected something from them they were never capable of giving. We get mad at people for failing tests they were never qualified to take. We expect emotional intelligence from someone who's never healed. We expect loyalty from someone who's never been loyal to themselves. You expect wisdom from someone who's still trying to survive their own chaos. And when they don't meet our expectation, we label it betrayal, but what it really was is misalignment. Think about this deeply. How many of your past frustrations were born out of your own assumption that someone should have known better? But how could they if they'd never been taught? We assume people think like us, feel like us, care like us, but they don't. And that assumption becomes the seed of our anger. The truth is, when you understand the why behind people's behavior, it becomes almost impossible to stay angry at them. It doesn't excuse their actions, but it explains them. That explanation gives you clarity. And clarity, when mixed with compassion, creates peace. Not because you're passive, but because you're free. Free from reacting. Free from needing them to change in order for you to be okay. Free from waiting for apologies or explanations or closure that may never come. Ignorance makes you reactive. Understanding makes you stable. The more you understand about human nature, about trauma, about the way people are wired, the more grace you'll naturally give. You'll stop expecting roses from thorn bushes. You'll stop handing over the key to your peace to people who don't even know what peace looks like. You're not angry because they've disrespected you. You're angry because you expected them to know how to respect you. You're not upset because they forgot your worth. You're upset because you gave them access before they proved they could handle it. That's not evil. That's just a lesson. And once you learn it, you grow past it. Anger feeds on the unknown, but understanding and from that space where you understand more than you judge, you begin to experience something far more valuable than being right or vindicated. You experience freedom. The kind of freedom that doesn't flinch at disrespect, doesn't tremble at criticism, and doesn't snap under pressure. Because you're no longer pulled by the surface of people's actions. You've learned to see beneath. And when you see beneath it, you stop fighting battles that were never yours to fight in the first place. That's when anger loses its power over you. People can only affect what you permit. That's a hard truth, because it means we're not as powerless as we like to pretend. We say things like, they made me so mad, or they ruined my whole day, but the reality is, no one has that much power over you unless you hand it to them. It's like giving someone your keys, watching them drive your car into a wall, and then blaming them for crashing your vehicle. No, they were behind a wheel because you let them be. And someone's words, actions, silence, or mood can flip your entire emotional state. That's not their power. It's your permission. It means your emotional thermostat is set by someone else's weather. And as long as that's true, peace will always be temporary. And your joy will always be on lease. And it is something that will shift your life. Just because someone tries to disrespect you doesn't mean you have to receive it. Just because someone lies about you doesn't mean you have to defend yourself. Just because someone invites you to a fight doesn't mean you have to show up. Maturity is realizing that not every action requires your reaction. And here's the thing. We're conditioned to react. We were trained to protect ourselves with offense, taught that silence is weakness, and clapping back means strength. But the truth is, reaction is not always power. Reaction is often evidence that someone touched a part of you that was still unhealed. You only react violently when something hits a sore spot. That's why emotional growth doesn't just mean smiling more. It means being so full internally that there's nothing left to prove externally. The people who truly you the most often reveal the areas where your boundaries were never reinforced. They show you the doors that need locks, the windows that need closing, the passwords that need changing. And every time you blame them for disturbing your peace, you forfeit your opportunity to grow in how you protect it. Peace is not the absence of conflict, it's the ability to remain undisturbed by it. It's knowing who you are so clearly that other people's opinions sound like whispers in a stadium. It's knowing your value so deeply that when someone disrespects you, you don't panic, you just reposition. You don't need to yell to be strong. Sometimes the strongest response is no response, because silence isn't weakness when it comes from a place of clarity. How to start treating your emotional energy like your physical space. You don't let just anyone walk into your home, dirty their shoes on your floor, and disrespect your space. So why let them do it in your mind? Why give strangers or even loved ones unrestricted access to your inner world? It is not about becoming cool, it's about becoming conscious. Conscious of the fact that your joy, your stability, your clarity, these are your responsibilities. If someone can take it from you with a text or comment or an attitude, you're living way too externally. Protect your energy like it's sacred, because it is. You weren't created to be a puppet on the strings of people's moods, mistakes, or misjudgments. You were designed to master your space, to rule from within. And once you realize that, you'll stop blaming people for taking what you were never supposed to give them in the first place. The power was always yours. Let me break it to you gently. Most people are not intentionally trying to hurt you. They're just functioning from pain they've never healed, patterns they've never questioned, and environments that shaped them long before you showed up. And when you understand that, you stop taking everything so personally. A man who doesn't know how to communicate isn't being cold. He might have grown up in a home where silence was survival. The woman who seems distant isn't necessarily ungrateful. She might be carrying burdens you can't see. The person who let you down might not be disloyal. They might just be human. When you understand that people are operating through layers of experiences, beliefs, trauma, and conditioning, you stop trying to get fruit from trees that were never planted. That doesn't mean you excuse toxic behavior. It doesn't mean you allow disrespect or ignore boundaries. It simply means you stop being shocked by it. You stop bleeding emotionally every time someone disappoints you, because you've stopped expecting broken people to carry your wholeness. And he's trying to say that a manner is the most absent from emotion. Wisdom sees patterns. Emotion sees offense. Wisdom says that makes sense given where they are. Emotion says, I can't believe they did that to me. One brings peace, the other brings pain. The moment you shift your lens from reaction to revelation, everything changes. You stop trying to fix people, argue with people, or demand from people what they aren't wired to provide. Let me give you an example. If someone's never experienced emotional safety, why would they know how to create it? If someone was never taught how to love themselves, why would they know how to love you? You see, most conflict comes from expecting maturity with it still wounding. And when you don't know that, you'll take everything as an attack instead of an alarm. An alarm telling you that this person is simply not equipped for what you're trying to build within. And this is a beautiful part. When you understand this, you don't just protect your peace. You increase compassion. You stop needing revenge. You stop holding grudges. You realize that people are on a journey just like you. Some are further, some are behind, some are learning, some are resisting. But all of them, just like you, are still figuring it out. And that understanding gives you freedom. Because now, instead of investing your energy in being offended, you invest it in discernment. Instead of being constantly triggered, you become curious. Why did they respond that way? What story might they be carrying? These questions open the door to wisdom. And wisdom is the greatest shield from being emotionally hijacked. You want to stop being bothered by people? Start studying them. Observe without absorbing. Listen to understand, not to react. Don't just see what they do. Seek to understand why they do it. Because once you understand someone's root, their fruit stops surprising you. And in that place of clarity, frustration feeds. Not because people changed, but because you did. Your peace is your personal property. It doesn't belong to your boss, your spouse, your parents, or your friends. It's not tied to how your day went, how someone treated you, or what the world thinks of you. Your peace is yours. But here's the catch. You have to claim it, protect it, and treat it like sacred ground. Because if you don't, someone else will walk all over it. Most people treat their peace like a public park. Anyone can stroll in, leave trash, stomp through with muddy feet, and walk out without consequence. But peace is in a public place. Peace is a private estate. And until you put a fence around it, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, you'll keep wondering why you feel so violated every time someone brings chaos into your life. The truth is, people will always try to hand you their drama, their dysfunction, their emotional baggage. Not because they're evil, but because they haven't learned to carry it themselves. And if you don't know where you end and they begin, you'll carry what isn't yours. You'll answer every call, absorb every emotion, react to every mood, and slowly watch your inner calm evaporate. Let me make it plain. Protecting your peace isn't selfish. It's survival. It's the discipline of choosing what gets access to your mind and heart. You wouldn't leave your front door open in the middle of the night, but you leave your mental door wide open to negativity, guilt trips, manipulation, and emotional clutter. Why? You have to understand, peace doesn't just show up. It's cultivated. It's guarded. And most importantly, it's enforced. That means saying no when it's uncomfortable. That means walking away from conversations that go nowhere. That means not responding to every jab, every bait, every passive-aggressive comment. Not because you're weak, but because you're focused. Peace doesn't mean everything around you is calm. It means you are calm even when everything around you is not. And that kind of calm only comes when you take responsibility for what you allow to enter your space. You cannot control how others act, but you can control what you allow to stay inside of you. You don't have to attend every argument you're invited to. You don't have to defend yourself to people committed to misunderstanding you. You don't have to carry guilt because someone else doesn't like your boundary. That's not cruelty. That's clarity. And clarity is a weapon. When you know what you're protecting, you stop apologizing for protecting it. Now let me tell you what's powerful. Walking into a room full of chaos and not flinching. Smiling without pretending. Listening without reacting. Being present without absorbing. That's peace. That's authority. That's ownership of your inner world. And the more you own it, the less you'll tolerate anything that tries to trespass. So, ask yourself, who has access to your peace right now that shouldn't? Whose opinions, problems, and projections are sitting on your mental couch, draining your energy? And why haven't you asked them to leave? This is a season where you stop renting out your emotional space to people who can't even manage their own. You are the landlord of your mind. Set the terms, enforce them with grace. And remember, you don't owe anyone your peace. You owe it to yourself. Because once you protect it, you start to live from it. And that's when peace starts being a moment and starts becoming a lifestyle. You react out of deficiency, not abundance. That's a hard truth for many of us. But it's also a freeing one because it reveals that your reactions say more about you than they ever say about the person you're reacting to. When someone cuts you off in traffic, ignores your message, disrespects your boundary, or talks behind your back, your response is a reflection of your internal reservoir. And if that reservoir is low on peace, identity, self-worth, you'll find yourself snapping, defending, over-explaining, or spiraling every single time. But when you're full, truly full, the noise around you doesn't shake what's rooted inside you. We live in a world that celebrates reaction. We call it being real, being raw, being passionate. But in truth, most of our reactions come from emotional poverty, from inner places that haven't yet healed, from needs we've tried to meet through other people's approval, validation, or attention. So when someone threatens those needs, when they withdraw the attention, question our worth, or fail to notice us, our soul panics. We lash out not because of what they did, but because of what we believed it meant about us. That's why the work is always internal. The question isn't, why are they treating me like this? The question is, why does this bother me so deeply? And usually the answer points to an area that's running on empty. You can't respond with grace when you're running on fumes. You can't walk in love when you're living in lack.